I have been waiting to have this conversation. I cannot believe I was on 100 Cooks for Food Network. The show has officially aired, and here we are. And I finally get to talk about it. How did this happen? Well, first and foremost, this is a pen, right? And with this pen, the Bible says to write it down. I have a faith journal that I wrote in 2023. Just a faith journal that writes down things that have never even happened before, that is beyond my wildest dreams, that I've never imagined myself doing. And it was just something that I was encouraged by another sister in Christ and brother in Christ who told me to write things down. And the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2 to 3, if you are a Christian or if you are a believer, you would know that it tells you to write it down, make it plain. And that had been one of my favorite scriptures since 2013. I'm going to talk more about this journal later on, but I want to talk about how it happened. How did it happen? What exactly did I do in order for someone to reach me out? I did nothing but post my content. For my content creators who don't believe in posting their content because they're afraid of what people may say, let me tell you, post your content. One day in October, or I want to say early November, I think it was October of 2025, I was simply minding my business, going about posting my food content. As you guys know, I'm also a food content creator. And I just so happened to post my content. So the next thing you know, I get a DM, which I did not see initially. I happened to check my email first. So I saw the email from a casting director, and then I was like, this must be spam. That's the first thing that came to mind. Is this spam? I then go and check an Instagram because they let me know that they sent me a DM. So I checked the DM, and it was indeed the casting director that reached out to me. I could not believe it. I read through the message, and of course, because I work in social, I work in marketing, so I did my research. I had to dig for the company that he worked for, dig to make sure he was real. I had to make sure that this was actually a real show. But what I realized is if it's a real show, they're not gonna post anything about it. I mean, how do I know that? I work in social, I deal with campaigns and things like that. We don't ever just release what we think we're gonna talk about. We release what we know we're gonna talk about, or that's already complete. So that casting process happened. He then set up a call with me. He set up a quick call. It was just an initial, hey, let's discuss more about your background. What do you do with food? What is your knowledge on food? And so much more. We dug into that. And it was just an initial call. He said, hey, if you are a good fit and your background fits, another person's gonna reach out to you. Well, that person reached out to me, I wanna say a week later or maybe a few days later. And it was a quick introduction. Hey, this is my name, so-and-so, and I want to talk to you more about your background. I loved what I heard, and let's set up a Zoom call. I set up a Zoom call. The Zoom call was intense. I want to say it was about an hour or something like that. And I ended up actually interviewing in my kitchen because I felt like, it's a food show. It's on Food Network. You might as well do it inside of your kitchen. Don't do it in your bedroom, Even though the aesthetic was still nice, but I was like, let me do my kitchen. So my reaction, honestly, throughout this process has not been super, super expressive. It's just been, okay, if this works out, it works out. I've just been super, super calm about it because sometimes I'm one of those people that I pray about everything. I pray about everything and I just put it in the hands of God and I just say, hey, I'm just gonna walk by faith and not by sight. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't believe any opportunity has passed for me at all. So my reaction and just my emotions throughout the whole process wasn't really like crazy loud or anything like that. I had not told a soul. I didn't tell a family member. The only person that knew about this process was my husband. And that's just what it was. And I think later on I told my sister. That's the only two people that knew. so they let me know this is the process. You will be filming for 2 weeks. We're most likely going to be filming in January, and we will fly you out to LA. You don't have to worry about paying for that. You just let us know your name, your number, your information, everything that we need to do in order to make sure we send your ticket, and we'll fly you out. So I get to a place where now I'm doing background checks. I'm doing all types of background checks. I am now like, these background checks that we are actually doing, guys, is this real? And they're absolutely like, yes, it is. It's very real, And so a company reached out. I think that was their third party, that they will be doing a thorough background check. And it wasn't just a criminal background check. It was also a social media background check. So I'm sure they saw all types of crazy stuff from when I was maybe in high school or college. But luckily for me, I had already hit a lot of stuff, but which I'll talk about later on. I thought it was slick. And I told my husband, hey, they're doing a background check. They're doing all these things, and I'm just here. And I'm just like, okay, no worries. Then they let me know that they're going to be going on break. And I assumed because it was around the holidays, December had come up. And I said, okay, well, if I hear from them, I do. If I don't, I don't. And that's okay. Clearly, I passed the background check because somebody reached out to me again. Actually, I missed a part. Before that, I was sent an email, hey, just letting you know, we did not forget about you. We are just away from our desk, but we will be hitting you guys up within this week. And I'm like, you guys, who is you guys, I thought it was just a general email. And then now a producer reaches out to me and was like, hi, just letting you know, we are going to let you guys know something this week. Okay, cool. So whoever me and the guys is, we're about to know this week if we got it, if we didn't. And the producers, let me just say this, side note about the producers, they have been great throughout this whole process. I have been so blessed to have the casting directors that were assigned to me. I think that even just with the show period, they casted so well. And I was blessed to just be in the presence of them when I actually eventually met them. And I was so blessed to actually know them. So I thank God for them. I thank God for them. So then the next day, my husband had went to work, and I just so happened to just be at home, and I'm just chilling. And then something just tells me, check your email. Mind you, this is at like 9 p.m. or something like that. And I check my email, and it's like, you have been officially casted for 100 Cooks for Food Network. And guys, I lost my everlasting mind. I threw my phone and I screamed so loud. I was the only one at home, by the way. Then I remembered I need to call my husband, but then something told me don't call him, wait till he gets home. Because so my husband owns a barbecue business, and so he was actually working a gig. And I told myself, Clarice, just wait till he gets home. Wait till he gets home. I mean, the way I was shaking, I just could not believe I got casted for the show. I had never done TV before. And I'm not camera shy, but I just didn't know what to expect. I said yes to, I remember doing the interviews and things like that. I said yes to the casting and all this. I hadn't even talked to my boss. I hadn't talked to anything. I wasn't even sure if I had the PTO. I wasn't sure about nothing, but I had already committed, and that's just what it was. As God had it, I remember I was like, I have to call my boss. I text my boss the next day. And isn't it such a blessing that my boss is actually my friend in real life? And she said, Clarice, you're going. And she called my phone. She was like, I can't even text you. She called me and was like, you are going. I need you to put in your days now. I got you. Do not worry about work. I'm going to make sure I sign it. Just make sure you send me a handover. You do what you need to do. And let me see, this is what I'm talking about, the favor of God too, because I need you guys to understand that I didn't know what my boss was going to say. I didn't know what to expect. I had to also prepare myself if she was like, I'm not sure if you can do this. And I had to prepare myself if she would also say yes. For whatever reason, guys, I never worried about if she was going to say no. I knew that she was going to support me. And I know that that's not for everybody in their jobs, but there was a reason why he put me in this company. I mean, imagine top of Q1, we are stepping into new campaigns and so much more. If you guys know, I am a digital content operations manager by day. And so that requires lots of campaigns and lots of just project management and much more. And we're pretty much planning out things that are going to go on social media and through the feed, through the different type of channels that we own. And so my role is important because my boss is the director. So it's like if I'm not there, I'm that missing piece. But I made sure that I wrote out that handover and so much more. Now, I think it also was a blessing too for me because it was the top of Q1. Q1 is not a busy quarter. Q1 is like the planning period, the time where we're allowing our audience to figure out what they want to do when it comes to, purchasing tickets for our conference and so much more. And so that's what was super, super important for me to understand and remember, that this is Q1. It is okay. Had this been like a end of Q2, Q3, I'm not sure. I probably still would have been able to do it, but it would have been harder. This is actually the last 2 weeks of January, because I left, I want to say the 18th of January. No, I left January 22nd. January 22nd to LA and stayed there for about 2 weeks. And this is still the first month of the year. So I had plenty of time and plenty of room and things like that. Again, I said yes to something that I had no idea about. And so the faith it took to pack up and go to LA for 2 weeks was one that it just came over me. It was just something that just literally it came over me. I'm telling you, it really, really did. Now, my husband comes back home. I tell him, and he went crazy. And we prayed and we thanked God, and it was just a blessing. And the next thing you know, I had to start planning my outfits. So the rules of this show, you had to have no labels, no logos. Everything pretty much had to be plain. So what did I do? I went to Old Navy, and shout out to Old Navy. Old Navy did me right. I spent some good money there and just pretty much got all my outfits there. And then I also had some outfits that I hadn't worn in like a while, or outfits that I had that I thought would be cute on TV. I had to make sure my hair was done. The Bobbiana was bobbing. When you watch the show, you'll see the bob. I had a bob, outfits for the nines. I had to make sure that I put on makeup as well, because it was 100 cooks, so 100 of us. So makeup didn't have time to do everyone's makeup, but they did make sure that we looked the part on camera. So now I'm preparing to go. The preparation was definitely something I truly did not prepare for again. So we went shopping. I prepared well. I made sure all clothes were washed and folded and clean before I packed them up. I only took a carry-on. I did not take a check-in. The great thing about this is that you didn't have to pack any kitchenware. You didn't have to pack any knives. You didn't have to pack anything. Just pack your clothes and come. Pack your clothes and shoes. And your makeup if you wear makeup. I made sure to do all of that. I made sure to take my Bible with me, my journal, because I was journaling out there, and I did plan on blogging as well. And honestly, it was just faith that took me there. So I had to sit down. I think before I left, I was like, man, I'm going to be away from hubby for 2 weeks. My family has wished me well. For those that I have told, family and friends, they have prayed over me. I literally had a covering, and I had no fear, but I let myself know that if God has called you for this, you can absolutely do it. So it was such a blessing. Now I landed in LA. It was pretty much a rest day. Check in. I met a few cooks that were getting picked up with me, and 100 cooks treated us well. I can't lie to you. Shout out to the team. The team did great. The team, from picking us up at the airport to making sure that we had all of our bags, that we got to the hotel safe and sound. Even call time was near the hotel, about 5 minutes, but they still made sure they picked us up back and forth. Guys, when I tell you, creme de la creme experience, like 10 out of 10. If 100 cooks called me back, I probably would do it again for them, just because of how they treated us, the staff in general as well. We now check in. They let us know, hey, you need to go get your garment bags in a certain room. Your name is listed on there. You're gonna get your number, things like that. There was creators that I recognized inside of the hotel already. There was one I was already following. Shout out to Charlie. I was already following Charlie, I thought, for a few years. I think for like 2 or 3 years. And I was like, is your name Charlie? I think I know you. And he was just like, yes. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, is your name Charles? And he goes by Charlie. And I actually love him. He's awesome. He's great. I had call time the next day, and guys, I did not know what to expect. I'm telling you, I just said, Clarice, make sure your hair is cute, make sure your makeup is cute, and make sure you dress for the nines. And so we had to take 2 weeks worth of outfits because they asked for 11 outfits. And first of all, 100 cooks, you're getting eliminated. Like, people are getting eliminated every single day. So that was like the scary part of the show. But they still told you have to bring those many outfits because you don't know what episode you're going to leave. I skipped a part. When I got picked up, I met Fari, Jenna. Oh, I met another cook from Houston too, so shout out to him, H-Town. As you guys know, I'm from Houston too. Let's fast forward to day one. Day one, we go inside. We're walking on set. The producers lead us to upstairs. It was in an old IKEA building, so it wasn't like they said, look, it may seem sketch, but it's in an old IKEA building. It wasn't sketch at all. You can tell it was something being filmed. And we went upstairs where our break room was, where all the cooks meet. It was 100 of us, so imagine the noise and things like that. And it was great. It was great. They fed us breakfast. There was snacks galore, drinks, refreshments, anything that we needed, it was there. So we were really grateful for that. Now, we are going to set. We're actually seeing set. When I tell you guys, the set was, think of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Think of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but it's in kitchen, cook mode, you name it. It just looks like a big HGTV set. And it was amazing. And then I suddenly said, I belong here. I absolutely belong here. I don't know what I'm going to do here, but I belong here. And the size of the room was so huge. We saw the stands. It was numbers everywhere. And it was just giving Squid Games. Squid Games for cooks, for home cooks. And I just remember just saying, wow, like, we are here. We just started dabbing each other up. We're high-fiving. Everybody's excited. And the one thing that I do wish they allowed us to take pictures in there. We could not take pictures in there, which kind of made me sad because I was just like, oh, I wanted to send my family. But I took some pictures upstairs to send my family to let them know I'm doing great. And yeah, I was like, I belong here. I absolutely do. Let's talk about cooking competitively. Cooking competitively was not on my bingo card for 2026. Let me tell you that much. So, you have 100 cooks. The first thing you want to do is panic. I didn't feel the need to panic. I just knew that I would be here for the amount of time that God allotted me. I have cooked for people my whole life. I've never cooked for who I was about to be cooking for. And also, I didn't know who I was about to be cooking for. At this point, we don't know who the host of the show is and things like that. But day one, we found out, they led us to our seats. We found out that it was the Terry Crews. Can you imagine cooking on a set? Terry Crews is the host. I grew up on watching Terry Crews. Of course, we all know White Chicks. We all know if you watch Next Friday. And it was just like, oh my gosh, like, Terry Crews. It's Terry Crews. I loved being on set with Terry Crews. He was so down to earth and he talked to the cooks and he made us feel at home. And it was as if he was just normal. Like, he is absolutely normal. And I think we forget that Terry Crews is a family man as well. And we found out he's a foodie. And we got to cook for Alex Guarnaschelli and Nick Giovanni. And when I tell you, these are two greats. Let me just say this. I love Alex. I absolutely love Alex. I love her quirkiness. I love her honesty. And I absolutely love her shoe game. And just to FYI, Alex complimented my shoes. She loved my off-whites that I was wearing. Just saying. So off-whites, holla at me, okay? But no, seriously, it was really, really great to cook for 2 people recognized by Food Network, and not just recognized. I mean, Alex is a Iron Chef. She is a world-renowned chef. She's amazing. She's a legend. Nick, he created his platform from social media, which a lot of us are, so it was very inspiring to also be in his space. And he's so young. He started off as a college kid, and I started off post-college. So I think for me, I thought that was really cool to see somebody so young and just build this platform that, I mean, is amazing. I mean, he has, of course, millions of followers, you name it, but he's great. He's awesome. Now you see you have 2 legends. You have 2 people that are heavy hitters. And so now the pressure is on, because now you're talking to other cooks and you're realizing other cooks are not just home cooks. Now you're realizing the pressure is on. You're cooking with 99 other cooks who probably are just as good, if not better than you. Their technique, but I know that some people aspire to go to culinary school. You meet a lot of content creators who started doing food, honestly, based off of what they used to sell, or they used to cater, like myself. I used to cater. I cooked for athletes and much more, but I would not call myself the cordon bleu chef. I rarely call myself a chef, to be honest. I would call myself a chefpreneur, because I did so many different things. You know, I am a seasoning brand owner. Like I said, I cooked for athletes. I did so many events in the past. I've done so many things in food, but I still consider myself very, very skilled. I just didn't consider myself the cordon bleu chef, the one that went to school for it. You know what I'm saying? So my credibility comes from just being, I'm self-taught, you know? But the pressure was definitely on, because you didn't know what to expect. You didn't know what the challenges were going to be, the different balls that Terry had to draw from in order to see who was going to cook and what the challenges were going to be and things like that. So that was one that we just did not expect. That's the difference between cooking for loved ones and cooking competitively. I've never cooked competitively before. I've never done that before, and it was definitely something I'm doing that was new for me. So imagine me sitting there like, who is going to make a better steak than me? I like my steak. I like the way I cook. My husband loves my food. I cook what I cook. I had a partner on my road that would be like, look, cook your cook. And absolutely, like, I was all for that. I cooked what I cooked. I didn't try to play like I was somebody else. I did what I do in Rece's home. Filming was so funny, because being mic'd up almost every day, was real. Like, now you know that you are actually on TV. Or we have people that are like, and you're doing personal, like, you know, interviews or confessionals. Hey, take this, take the sweat off your T-zones, and which I appreciated, because, you know, I could only imagine the shine throughout the day. But I didn't break a sweat, but I did get a little shiny, of course, because, you know, makeup might crease and things like that. But you had to show up. I was on time every single day for call time. And call time is at 7 a.m. or sometimes 6:50. So I'm up at 5 a.m. I'm up 4:45 a.m. making sure, because, you know, hair, makeup, you don't know if you're going to have a malfunction and things like that. All of our clothes were with wardrobe, so we had to come in every day ready to get dressed, for sure. And what I loved about it is that they made sure that you looked your best. So I thought it was really funny how first episode immediately called my number, hey, we need to mic you up. And I was like, okay, cool. And I came in there just with this attitude of just joy, of just gratitude. I was thankful. I was excited. I got mic'd up. And I was just like, wow, this is really it. This is really it. And, you know, personally, I didn't know what they were going to use me for and things like that, but they actually ended up interviewing me that day in my confessional. And so I was really excited about that too, because I'm like, wow, I actually get some camera time. And that's what I was excited about. Now, one thing I learned throughout the process is that when they're micing you up, they really pay attention to personalities, or they love unique stories. So if you have a good storyline, I don't have necessarily any, and that's another thing too, they were not looking for drama per se. They were just looking for personality. So if your personality didn't shine, they did not remember you. And I think one of the things that I wanted to be remembered by was not only my personality, but I wanted to be remembered how every outfit killed. I dressed to kill. how the look was looking. That's what I want to be remembered by, and I also want to be remembered by how I treated people and just my personality as well. So it plays a big role in order to be mic'd up. So the relationships off of camera, that's one thing that I was opening my heart to, is the relationships that I'm going to potentially build. But I did not expect for it to absolutely come out the way that it did. Honestly, I just went in there being myself, and it was amazing how you have 100 cooks who do not know each other. Some came as, you'll see a father-daughter duo, you're going to see a husband and wife duo, you're going to see a sister duo, you're going to see different types of duos. But what I did not realize is that how many people are willing to help you, who want to be in your space as well, who want to learn from you, and so much more. So I was able to build relationships with people who I am still speaking to this day, whether it be via social media, I have their personal contacts, or I'm in a group chat, whatever the case may be. But these relationships are ones that I value because I don't have a food community here in Houston. I just have a community. And that's okay too. I've always been known as the person that cooks for everybody, but I wanted to now, make friends or build relationships with people that are in my space. And I was able to do that. I met so many different types of creators. Some are big, some are small, some are very large. And the ones that were very large, you would never even know. Shout out to my guy Mike, who really showed me the ins and outs of content creating and being able to make money off of my content. Not that I wasn't making money before, but really, understanding the gift of pitching, and sometimes not even pitching, just simply just putting out content that makes sense. And also showing me that if it's necessary to have a manager, an agent, and I currently don't have one, he really showed me that it's still very accessible. The brands, that is, the money that you are desiring, it's very accessible and anybody can get it. You just have to have the right collateral. And thank God I had already built my portfolio prior to coming to LA. I built my portfolio years ago. I just honestly update and add to it as much as I need to. And it's been great just seeing just the growth of my content since I left LA and got here. Now, what I learned also about the community that I built in LA is the fact that everybody does not look like one another. And I think that's something that I've always, wanted in relationships, is to step outside of my comfort zone, step outside the box, and have a diverse melting pot of people that you want to, rub shoulders with. And to be very honest with you, I've always been very open to diversity and so much more. It is kind of difficult though, being in Houston, especially being a Nigerian. If you've ever been to Houston, places like Atlanta, Dallas, it's a huge Nigerian community, and just being amongst people that it is fun, but it also gets tiring just because you're like, okay, is there anyone that is in my field and, that knows my niche? And in my field, to be very honest with you, it's very, very small. You don't get a lot of people that work in media where I'm from, or not even saying where I'm from, but like with who I hang out with. You don't get too many of us that are in media. You don't get too many of us that are food creators either. So I think that the camaraderie that we built on the show was exactly what I needed. It absolutely what I needed. Even the small group of women that I have sat with and built relationships with, they have been nothing but great. Some of them are on social media, or some of them are trying to develop and build a social media following and platform. And we just all sit and help one another. And it's just been amazing just working with them and so much more. Shout out to Bree, Sophia, Fari, Emily, Evie. I'm so grateful. Oh, how could I ever forget Shay Shay? Shay Shay, shout out to you as well. But these women have been honestly people that I'm so grateful to have known and have come across for sure. The people that you honestly build relationships with should be able to pour into you. And I'm at the age now where relationships to me are very priority because I have to be able to know that if I am lacking in an area that, not that I'm entitled to you picking me back up, but I have to know that I can be in a community where if they know and see that I'm struggling, they're willing to, pick me up or, just and water me, help me grow and encourage me. If anything they have, it's encouragement because Lord knows, we're living in a time where it's rough out here, but it's amazing, like I said, to be in those type of places to where you can fellowship with people and you see the different backgrounds of where we all came from. Some of us struggled in places that others have strengths in, and we can be able to glean on that, and we're able to touch on their strengths, and it allows us to kind of soak that all in, and where we're strong and they're weak, and we can help them the same way. So it's so amazing. I think that what I've learned about my worth is that I am much more valuable than I think that I am. I have developed a attitude where I no longer negotiate what I deserve. I don't, because somebody can take someone with 4,000 something followers and put them in a space that they have never been on and can use that not only for just content, but can be able to use that as a way to be motivated and use it as a stepping stone or even just a memory to remember, like, hey, you were on this stage. And it's not about, it's not about you thinking you're better than anyone. It's just you knowing that you don't have to be a certain level to be able to be called to places that you could never ever imagine. So I'm just walking into a room of 100 cooks, and out of the 100 cooks, I become somebody that now I'm competing in cooking, and I actually can make time, and I can cook, I can think on my feet, I can do so many creative things, and it's just amazing to me. It's absolutely amazing. I don't believe in shrinking myself. I also don't believe in underperforming. I'm always going to overperform, but I also believe that there's levels to overperforming. Overperform being that I put my best foot forward and I do the best that I can do. And I work off of my strengths and my weaknesses. And even if a weakness does display, it's absolutely okay. Be yourself. All I knew is that I had to just be myself, be Rece, because I have clearly walked into a place that I never imagined myself being in. So just be yourself. And me posting my content was just simply me being myself and just displaying and showing my love for food and family and fellowship. You have to advocate for yourself. I think that yes, I was in the midst of 100 cooks, but these 100 cooks, like I said, different people are coming from places where they had to stand up for themselves and advocate for themselves. They came from very, very serious backgrounds and where they had to fight. And I didn't really necessarily have that struggle to where I had to fight with certain situations and things like that. But it's just the point that I did fight to be exposed and displayed on social media and to build the following that I have and to really show that I am worth being somewhere without me having to pitch that to somebody. And I just put that all in my work. All of that was inside of my work. But advocate for yourself. And another thing too I will say is that, and this is also for creators, you don't need a resume when someone sends a DM to you. They shot you a DM because they like what they saw, not because they think they saw what they saw. They like what they saw. They reached out to you, and that's exactly what happened to me. Mind you, I have a portfolio. I have all those things. I didn't have to send any of that. I didn't have to send a portfolio. I didn't have to do a lot of the things that I thought I had to do in order to get on this show. I just had to be myself. And if you are a food content creator, let your food speak for itself. Sometimes, and what you need to know too, is that your food doesn't have to be cordon bleu friendly. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that is well plated either. It could be something that's just very unique. Cook what you know makes sense. Put the content out there, simple and short. And if you're consistent with the content, somebody will see it. I have to leave with this point. I have to conclude with this because I want you guys to watch the show for sure. But I want to let you know just the faith part of it. In 2023, I wrote down in my journal that I will do a project with Food Network. And I remember being in serious tears when I wrote this because it's called my textbook things of faith, my textbook things in faith. And I wrote down a list for myself and my husband. And I remember writing specifically things for myself for SRC Kitchen and just for my food platform that I would have never guessed, or things that just came to my mind. And I always call it the Holy Spirit just started speaking to me. But I wrote down that I will be doing a project with Food Network. And of course, it'll probably be too small to see, but it's number 21 on my list. So I said that I would do a collab with Food Network or a project with them. And there's so much more that I put on that particular prophecy that is still, I'm sure with time, it'll come into fruition. But that's what I put on there. And so it was just really exciting to see that happened the way that it did. And it didn't happen off of my strength. This is something that happened the way God wanted it to happen, not necessarily how I wanted it to happen. So I'm forever grateful for the amount of, just the amount of not even joy, but faith that I had to develop, or that I developed throughout this process. Write it down, keep building. Every time I think about, just being on the show, I just remember the little girl that received a Easy Bake Oven for Christmas, and fast forward in her 30s, actually fulfilling the dreams that she's always wanted. And I grew up on Food Network watching Alton Brown, Emeril Lagasse, Gaida, Barefoot Contessa, Martha Stewart, $40 a Day with Rachel Ray. There's a number of shows that I'm missing, but I watched that and I remember just always writing down recipes at the time and using it for Thanksgiving or Christmas. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I want you guys to watch the show. The show is coming out. I want you guys to watch the show. It has already aired, of course. It is on Food Network and HBO Max, and it is in 15 different countries. And I want you guys to just see what faith looks like and see how much fun we have with Terry Crews and Alex Guarnaschelli and Nikki DiGiovanni. I said Nikki and Nick DiGiovanni, and see how much fun we had. We just had a great time, and you'll laugh, you might cry, you might get a little annoyed. I don't know what emotion you're going to feel when you're watching the show, but just know it's intense. It's actually very intense. And as somebody that competed on the show, it is harder than what it looks like. This is not my peak. This is just confirmation that God can do it for you as well. I'm going to leave. I'm going to let you guys watch the show. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm so excited. You should be excited too. Your food bestie is getting ready to film other great things as well for this channel. Please subscribe, put on your post notifications so that you can know every time I drop a new video. And I look forward to seeing you guys back at the table.